So just doing a little follow-up video to the Saturn and that PS2 that I picked up the other day. The PS2 is gone. I ended up trading that in and was able to get what my goal really was, which was a pink controller for Lily to play her PS3 games on. It's really the shine on it is just crazy. It literally does look like a piece of candy. It's crazy, but she likes it, so that's a win. Now the Saturn, oh man, it turned out not to be quite as simple as fix as I had planned it to be. So what I did was, firstly, of course, is I unhooked all the ribbon cables and looked at the contacts on them and everything, and then reset them. Same thing with these cables right here that go from the main board to the optical board and the power supply. And after, basically just taking it apart, cleaning it, and put it back together, I tried it, and it still was doing nothing. So next step was start to replace a part one at a time. So I put a different optical board in it, and that didn't do it. And then I put a new power supply in it, and that didn't do it. And I took a new laser and put it in it, and that didn't do it. So it's kind of at a loss. But luckily, well, what I did after that is it's kind of difficult to see, but right here is a rubber coated tab, I guess you could say. And what happens is when the laser goes up all the way, it hits that little tab and it signals the laser to check and see if a disc is in it. So with it plugged in and the lid off and everything, and I held down, this is the door switch that makes it think the door is closed on the console. Held that down, moved the laser forward, and then when it hit that tab, I looked at the laser. Disclaimer, don't stare at lasers, they make you go blind. But there was some light, so the laser was good. The tab was good. This ribbon cable right here is the one that feeds power and signal and etc. to the laser. So basically, I was like, oh, so it's the motor. So just to make sure that, like, there wasn't too much resistance on the gears and stuff, and maybe that's what was giving it a hang up, I put some white lithium grease on all the gears, so it'd be less resistance. That did nothing. Re-greased the rail, nothing. So I was like, well, maybe the motor's burned out. So I took the whole optical board off. It's just sitting on these 4 pegs right here. And I took it all off, unplugged those right here. These are for the motors, actually. I'll get to that in a second. So I took the whole thing off, and I, squeezed 2 pieces of wire on either end of a AA and touched them to the solder points on the back of the board. And both motors, the spindle motor, and there's another one right there, it's the gear motor, they both worked with a AA hooked up to them. So my final conclusion is somewhere either right here or down in here where it comes from the main board, there is, I guess, a break somewhere. Like maybe a solder point has gone bad, or maybe these right here are not, maybe these are not seated well inside or something. But that's where I'm at now. So it took me about 30 minutes of troubleshooting to figure that one out. But yeah. So that's where we're at with the Saturn. maybe some of that troubleshooting info will help someone else out with their Saturn. And of course, after I get my whatchamacallit, once I test all the connections and whatnot and see where it's really coming from, and then fix whatever needs to be fixed, then I'll like do one more update or something for those that are interested. Anyway, so that's the Saturn.